Invite viewers to post their location and local time. The evening breeze drifts lazily through the memorial garden, teasing the petals of purple coneflowers and black-eyed Susans as if they haven't been accused of being illegal weeds by Sandra Kellerman. Mike Torres stands there, hands tucked into the pockets of his faded jeans, watching the HOA president wield a violation notice like a royal decree. Her manicured finger taps the page with the precision of a fencer scoring points. Section 4.2, maintain grass lawns only. No exceptions. He doesn't flinch. He's a retired police detective, 15 years in homicide and fraud, the kind of work that teaches you to read lies, the way meteorologists read radar. Sandra's voice is sugar on the surface, vinegar underneath. She circles the bench. His late wife, Elena, commissioned a slab of local stone engraved with, "Where love grows, hope blooms eternal." She wants it gone along with the wildflowers his wife chose specifically to feed butterflies and soothe their daughter Emma. What she calls unauthorized landscaping, he calls a living scrapbook. Historians still argue whether the first public parks were built for beauty or for control. Sandra seems firmly in the control camp. Emma watches from the kitchen window, clutching her mother's garden journal. She's 10, all elbows and stubborn chin, and she knows these flowers bloom for her every year on her birthday. When Sandra mutters, "Your wife isn't here to charm her way out of violations anymore," it lands like a sucker punch. Mike's seen this before, different faces, same game. Maria Santos at the farmer's market lost half her daycare business to bogus complaints. Mr. Patel got fined for Diwali lights while the Hendersons' Christmas inflatables were community character. Vietnamese families moved away under the weight of excessive foot traffic citations after weddings. The pattern's so obvious it might as well be a police training slide. And then Sandra pivots. 4 frivolous police calls in 6 weeks, each loaded with questions about procedure. How long to respond? What triggers a search? What brings in SWAT? Officer Rachel Chin. Good cop, good memory, warns him quietly. Sandra's rehearsing something. That phrase, weapons call with children present, keeps floating to the surface. One night he catches her parked half-hidden across the street, pantomiming urgency into her phone. Words like possible weapon storage, immediate danger to children. He records every syllable. She's not just harassing them, she's rehearsing a lie designed to send an armed entry team into a backyard full of 10-year-old girls, and Emma's sleepover is in 3 days. Mike's cop brain starts building a timeline. His father brain starts building a wall. The garden smells like wild mint. The lights turning gold and his daughter's laughter should be the only thing he's thinking about. But Sandra's just crossed from petty tyranny into potential violence, and some battles don't let you choose whether you fight. By Thursday morning, Mike's office looks less like a home workspace and more like a small-scale command center. 4 new high-definition cameras are wired discreetly into the eaves, each lens angled to catch not just the yard but the street where Sandra likes to lurk. A secure laptop hums quietly, recording every frame. His phone has Detective Morrison on speed dial, encrypted messaging ready for one-button alerts. Somewhere in the back of his mind he notes the irony. He retired to escape the constant readiness of police work, and here he is setting up what amounts to an undercover sting in his own backyard. Morrison's plan is simple when Sandra makes her false emergency call. SWAT still responds, but plainclothes officers and body cams will be on her from the moment she dials. She'll incriminate herself in real time. Historians still argue whether elaborate traps are acts of justice or just revenge with better PR, but Mike knows this one is about proof. Thursday night. Maria Santos's kitchen becomes a war room. Neighbors who've endured Sandra's selective enforcement sit shoulder to shoulder, spilling stories and producing violation notices like playing cards in a rigged deck. Mr. Patel's Diwali finds Maria's daycare investigation. The Newens' forced move, it all weaves into the same pattern. They sign affidavits, their voices low but steady. Even Mrs. Newen, who'd once fled, leans in and says she thinks fear will scatter us. Let's show her we can stand still. Friday evening arrives warm and calm. The sort of night meant for roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories. Emma's 6 friends arrive in a flurry of sleeping bags and glitter nail polish. Mike's cameras catch every laugh, every trip to the s'mores table. The fire pit glows. Even the air smells sweet like sugar melting on graham crackers. At 9:15 p.m., Sandra's white Lexus slides into its usual perch across the street. Phone in hand, she starts pacing. From the kitchen window, Mike sees the performance, the frantic gestures, the urgent pointing toward his yard. His encrypted phone buzzes call incoming to dispatch, SWAT mobilizing. He moves the girls closer to the porch lights, all visible, all in plain sight of every lens and body cam. Better light for perfect s'mores, he says with a smile that feels like steel under velvet. Sirens swell faintly in the distance. Patrol cars arrive, first lights painting the street red and blue. Officer Rachel Chen steps out, her eyes flicking from the girls to Sandra. The body cams catch Sandra breathlessly, describing weapons, suspicious men, children in danger, all while 10-year-olds in pajama pants giggle and drip marshmallow onto their plates. 2 minutes later, the SWAT van rolls up. Tactical gear, controlled movements, everything by the book. And Sandra's still talking, still weaving her fantasy. Every second, every lie captured in perfect clarity. This isn't just the rope she's hanging herself with, it's the whole gallows built by her own hand. By the time Detective Morrison steps from an unmarked car, Sandra's face has that brittle shine of someone realizing the audience isn't buying the act. He listens quietly as she repeats her claims, then asks a few pointed questions, each one a gentle tug at the thread holding her story together. Within minutes, she's wrapped in contradictions, and the plainclothes officers have every word on record. The girls sit clustered on the memorial bench, birthday crowns crooked, watching wide-eyed as their neighborhood's queen bee stumbles. Emma slips her hand into her father's, whispering, "The mean lady's in trouble, isn't she?" He squeezes back. The truth always catches up. Historians still argue whether public humiliation was invented for justice or entertainment. Tonight it's doing both. 3 days later, the HOA meeting, Sandra called to accuse Mike of endangering the community as standing room only. She opens with her usual brisk authority, but the room is thick with side-eye and whispered speculation. Mike waits until she's in full swing before walking down the aisle, folder in hand. Body cam stills Sandra, gesturing at his house while children in pajamas roast marshmallows in the background, hit like a visual sledgehammer. "You called SWAT on a sleepover," Mrs. Henderson says flatly from the second row. Sandra tries to pivot, but Morrison and 2 uniformed officers step in. "Sandra Kellerman, you're under arrest for filing false police reports, abuse of emergency services, and endangering the welfare of children." The cuffs click. The hall is silent for a heartbeat. Then Maria Santos starts clapping. One by one, the rest join in. One by one. 6 weeks later, autumn flowers spill across Elena's memorial garden. Neighbors gather, each bringing a stone etched with names or messages, losses, and hopes mingling in the soil. Maria calls it a dedication. Mike sees it as a reclamation. The new HOA board has scrapped Sandra's discriminatory policies. Kids run between benches and blossoms free of side-eyed rule enforcement. A young mother from another neighborhood approaches toddler in tow, asking how to fight back against her own HOA's bullying. Mike hands her Morrison's card and a packet of their documentation methods. "Every family deserves to feel safe in their own home," he says. Emma adds softly, "And every garden deserves to bloom." The sun dips low, gilding the petals. Conversation slow, footsteps soften on the grass. Mike and Emma sit on the stone bench, watching neighbors linger in the golden light. The air smells of wild mint and late-season roses, and the tension that's hung over their home for months finally loosens. Here, under the watch of flowers planted in love, they let the quiet stretch, knowing the fight is over. The lesson learned in the garden, like their community, will keep growing.